Good day. It's good to be back from vacation and time for my weekly OEA update. Begin by thanking everybody who has been participating in our OEA Summer Leadership Academy this week. We have a great turnout virtually of staff and local leaders and members from around the state learning and growing through their experience. I just finished moderating a panel with State Superintendent Paulo DeMaria and Dr. Mary Kate Francis from the Ohio Department of Health, talking about the issues that everybody is thinking about and considering in terms of potential reopening of schools. We're still waiting for an official decision by Governor DeWine, but in the meantime, we're thinking very hard about what are the steps that we need to be taking as advocates at the local level to make sure that we're protecting the health and safety of our students and of our members, of the adults who work in our schools and their families and our communities. I'm going to be testifying in opposition to Senate Bill 320 related to that. Senate Bill 320 would put that decision completely in the hands of local superintendents and school boards. We think that would be a real mistake because we need very clear public health guidance from people in authority, scientifically based on data and evidence, to understand what are the parameters that we need to operate under as we think about different scenarios for going back to school. So be looking for more information from NEA, from OEA, to help you in your efforts. And as soon as we get that guidance from the state, we'll be sharing that and we will be finding ways to enhance that. We had a couple of significant wins in the legislature. Governor DeWine signed House Bill 164. 164 does a number of things, particularly to address some temporary issues with the continuing COVID pandemic, eliminating student growth measures and OTES for next year, suspending the third grade reading guarantee, providing relief on end of course exam points for students, and also providing some important funding relief for districts that were disproportionately hit by cuts earlier this spring. We were also very successful because we defeated an effort to undercut collective bargaining rights through a furlough provision. That was not in the final bill, and that was a big win. Thank you for all of you for your advocacy. We need to continue to advocate for longer term support, including further suspension of testing, and we also need to be working on fixing our broken report cards and scaling back vouchers and charters. Right now, the number one priority is making sure that we get Congress to act to pass critical funding relief so that we don't see massive educator layoffs this coming school year. If you haven't done so yet, contact Senator Portman in particular and demand that the Senate take up what the House did with the HEROES Act. We need that fiscal relief. This week, I am also working with our allies in the legislature. We just issued a statement in support of a pair of resolutions, one in the House, one in the Senate, that declare racism a public health crisis in the state of Ohio. As educators, we're uniquely situated to understand the impact of systemic racism on our students that we serve across the state. We know how important it is to have equal educational opportunities. We've also learned a lot over the course of the past couple of months on just how intricately connected education and health are to one another. When we saw students not at school, we also saw families not getting the health and nutrition support that they needed. It's all connected. There's been a disproportionate impact of COVID on communities of color, part of a longer historical inequity that exists, and we want to be partners in the effort to try to bring greater justice, racial justice and social justice in this state. Along the lines of justice, we're very excited about the fact that the Supreme Court issued a very important decision last week on DACA. We have students and colleagues across this country that are able to stay in this country and not be penalized because they happen to be brought here as children. We need to continue to advocate for all of our students, and we know just how important it is to make sure that we're engaged in the political process as well. Our OEA members who are serving as delegates to the NEA Representative Assembly are raising funds for the NEA Fund for Children in Public Education. If they ask you to make a contribution, please give generously. It's going to be really important to make sure that we're competitive, standing up for students, standing up for public education in this upcoming election. That's all I have for this week. Hope you make it a great one. Thanks.